even and odd functions. In this module, you will learn about even and odd functions. You may already know that a function is a relation where each input has only one output. A function can be even or odd, or neither even nor odd. Now, before we learn the definitions of even and odd functions, let us consider how they are represented graphically. Consider the graph of a function f of x equal to x square. This function is symmetric about the y-axis, or you can say that the part of the graph on the left side of the y-axis is the reflection of the part on the right side. Such functions that are symmetric about the y-axis are called even functions. Here is an interesting property about even functions. If you consider any value of x on the positive x-axis, say 1, then f of 1 is 1. Now if you take negative 1, then f of negative 1 is again 1. This helps us to conclude that function f is even only if the positive and negative versions of the input, say x, gives the same output. Now consider this function. Can you identify it? If you reflect the right side of the function along the y-axis, you get the left side of the function. Thus, the function is symmetric about the y-axis and it is an even function. Coming up next is odd functions. Consider this function. It does not have a reflection symmetry about the y-axis. However, it has a rotational symmetry about the origin. When the graph is rotated about the point O, it looks the same twice in the full turn. We can also say that the graph remains the same after being rotated 180 degrees about the origin. Such functions are called odd functions. Odd functions have a special property. To understand the property, consider any value of x on the positive x-axis, say 1, then f of 1 is 1. Now if you take the value as negative 1, then f of negative 1 is negative 1, which is equal to negative f of 1. This helps us to conclude that the function f is an odd function only if the input, say negative x, gives the output negative f of x. Consider one more function. If you rotate this graph by 180 degrees about the origin, it remains unchanged. So, it is an odd function. This graph is neither symmetrical about the y-axis nor has a rotational symmetry about the origin. So, this function is neither even nor odd. In this module you have learned that the graph of an even function is always symmetrical about the y-axis. If x is an input to a function f, then it is an even function if and only if f of x is equal to f of negative x. The graph of an odd function has a rotational symmetry about the origin. The graph of an odd function remains the same after being rotated 180 degrees about the origin. If x is an input to a function f, then it is an odd function if and only if f of negative x is equal to negative f of x.